Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics. Today we are on the water nice and early and we're going to be doing some of my favourite fishing, which is shallow water finesse plastics. We've got a run out tide. We're going to talk about the gear, the techniques and the structure that we're fishing through the different stages of the dropping tide. Stay tuned. Alright, we were just packing up to head to a different drain. This drain, we just got that one little flatty and then we've flogged away at it a bit and it's not really happening. One more cast, just one more cast. Oh, was that a little tap? Yep, it was. Yep, it was. That was a little tap. Brimbo to start with, up in the shallows here. So we're basically working along a mangrove edge. So mangrove edge attract bait. As that tide pushes up, the bait pushes into the mangroves. The tide's turned now, it's dropped out about a couple of hours. So the bait's coming out and with that bait is the fish. So just a little brimbo to kick things off, but a good start to the day. We've put that SwimZ in there, one of our favourites for this finesse shallow water plastic stuff. And because the tide's up a bit still here, I'm running that 1/4 10, allows me a nice big long cast away from the boat as well so I don't spook the fish. We've noticed this morning that the water is quite dirty and dark. So with this low light and that dirty water, I've gone for one of the oil family colours because of that UV reactive quality. So I've gone with that blood oil in a 2.5 inch SwimZ on that 1/4 10. I don't need the 1/4 ounce for the depth that we're fishing, but I like it for a big, long, punchy cast to cover water. As these fish are feeding actively up here, I can cover more water and I can get that cast further away from the boat. Righto, we'll send that guy back. See you, mate. All right, so we're working along the mangroves in the background there. We've got that brim, but the water is dropping out quickly out of there. So the bait has actually shifted out off the flat and there's a lot more bait out here. So we're gonna work further out off the flat. If you're fishing a mangrove edge that drops quickly into deeper water, you can sit right on that edge and keep working that edge for that first half of the run out. But in this situation here, it's a big flat. So the bait's coming off the flat, so we're going to start moving off the flat earlier with the bait so that we can work out here in that sort of 0.8 of a metre to a metre of water. We'll just chip away at it and see if we can get ourselves a couple more fish. Yep, there we go. Under that bait. Oh, beautiful. So we made that move out from the mangrove edge purely because we're never going to pass up bait, that's for sure. So there was a lot of bait out this way. So we came out off that mangrove edge further out on the flat. This thing has got a little bit of go about it. Just fishing that 2 to 4 kilo combo. So I've got 2 to 4 kilo and 1 to 3 kilo combos. I generally run the 2 to 4 when I'm throwing that 1/4 ounce head, and I run the 1 to 3 when I'm fishing that 1/8 ounce head. So 1/4 10 here. That's a nice grunter by the looks. Oh, in the net, buddy, in the giant net. There we go. That's another species that loves the shallows. Those guys are often the last one up onto the flats and one of the first one off the flats. So he's come off the flats there, chasing that bait. We made the cast right into some active bait and this guy was underneath it and boom, he obliged and ate that SwimZ. You can tell why they're called a grunter, that's for sure. So javelin fish or grunter, he's the spotted grunter, the other grunter is the barred grunter. So that's that 2.5 inch SwimZ. Whoa, settle down buddy. 2.5 inch SwimZ, a beautiful bite-sized snack on that 1/4 10 DemonZ. Beautiful for flicking and rolling over the flats. We might change it up though, we might put a different placky on now and just see if we can pick in around this bait a bit. See you buddy. Yep, so much bait. There's so much bait. Oh, bitten off. What were you, buddy? That's not ideal. He's chewed my leader. That might have been a flatty, that one. So that's back in the bait again there. We got the bite straight away. I think we might get another fish or two out of this bait, but that guy has chewed through my 10-pound leader pretty quickly. So maybe a tailer. Might have been a tailer. The good thing is I've got multiple rods rigged, so I can grab another rod and we can get straight back in there. So I see a lot of people when they get into soft plastics fishing, they spend a lot of money buying one rod and reel. For me, I'd rather pick up a few different combos so that I can have multiple rods rigged and ready to go. So that might have been a tail of that one. So I picked up another rod. I've got my 1/4 10 on here. I've got a different plastic on. I've got the 2.5-inch ZMan prawns here. So we'll see if they'll eat a prawn. Yep, there we go. Not a big fish, but that's the beauty of having multiple rods rigged and ready to go. We just had that bite off from a tailor, I'd say. Changed it up. Grabbed another rod. Grabbed a rod that had a 1/4 10 on again. And we got ourselves a Brimbo. So we were back in action straight away by having multiple combos rigged. This time the Brim is on the ZMan 2.5-inch prawns. There's a few prawns around at the moment, so prawns is always a good option. Just did a little fella, but you can see how he's totally inhaled that prawn. So he definitely thought that was a real prawn. All right, we're ready to go again. We are absolutely surrounded by bait. It's pretty epic. So, you know, when the tide was right up in those mangroves, we want to be fishing right up in those mangroves. But because this here is a big flat, you can see just bait all around me, and that bait's moving out. So there's no point us staying up there fishing that hard edge, that mangrove edge. As attractive as it is, this bait out here is a lot more attractive, and this bait is going to be attracting the predators, and that's what we're looking for. So we're moving with the bait as the bait moves out off this flat as the tide drops. So we're kind of in sort of the, you know, that middle stage of the game where we've had a couple of hours of run out. So we've worked close into the edge. Now we've got to keep moving out with that tide as it drops, because we want to stay in that sort of ideally 60 centimeters to 1.2 meters of water I like for fishing this sort of shallow water plastic stuff, maybe through to 1.5 meters. So just covering plenty of water, throwing big long casts and following that bait as it drops off the flat. So that's a few little brim already on the prawns. Basically, we're over the top of weed here now. This is a big weed flat. So you'll notice with the retrieve, I'm not giving it too much time to fall and settle on the bottom. I'm keeping it moving, keeping it twitching. So I'm up off the bottom and I'm not fouling on the weed. So over the top of the weed bed, just let it get down there a little bit. And I'm basically just using a shaking retrieve. So a few winds of the reel handle while I shake the tip of the rod, and then a pause just to let it fall a little in the water column. But I'm keeping it up off the bottom away from that weed, so that it doesn't foul up. As soon as you get weed on there, unlikely that a fish is going to bite it. So we want to keep it up above the weed, keep it moving, keep it twitchy. But because it's a prawn, we're not moving it as quickly as I would with, say, the paddle tail, like the slim swims. The slim swims, I'll often retrieve it on a slow roll or work it a little quicker. But prawns will often move just in small, short movements. So a lot of shaky retrieve there, and that pause with the prawn. Give that prawn a little bit of time. These prawns are awesome. The ZMan prawns have got little legs poking out the side of them, and they're the best prawn profile I've fished in the river and estuary, because those little legs out the side, they've got that beautiful realistic profile, but the legs stall it. So I give it a shake, I stop, and those legs pull it up and give it a nice natural fall. So the fish come up behind it, it stalls and it drops, and they just eat it. So it's a really, really good profile design. And it's a perfect bite-sized snack for brim, grunter, flatties, trevs, all sorts of species in the river and estuary. That bait's starting to drop out of here a little bit now, so we'll just give it a few more casts and we might drop back a bit with the bait as the bait drops off this flat. Yep, that's that shaky retrieve. That's got a little bit of go about it. Might be a bit better brim. Oh, I don't know. Just on the nice light spin gear. Light braid so we can throw a long cast. This is 6-pound Platypus Pulse X8. So we can throw a long cast. Oh, he's a little bit better brim. And that was that shaky retrieve up over the weed. That's a nice brimbo to finish with out here on the flat, and then we might go and check out some water movement, a bit of a drain, and see what we can find. So there we go. That's our prawn again. ZMan 2.5-inch prawns. That's the Houdini colour. It's a really nice natural colour. kind of hedge your bets, whether the water's clean or dirty, that Houdini colour still gets the bite. That's a nice little Brimbo to finish up on the flats, chasing schools of bait. That shaky retrieve, keeping it up off the weed and getting those bites from those Brimbos. So there we go, we worked that mangrove edge, got a brim in there, got chased out by that dropping tide. We've chased the bait around, got a handful of brim, also that grunter and that little flatty. So we'll send him, and we're going to sneak in and try a different sort of area and have a look at another shallow area that we fish with Finesse plastics. Righto, pop that hook out and we'll send him. That's a good handful of brim. All right, let's take a quick look at my go-to Finesse plastics kit. So basically, I have a tackle block of plastics and a tackle block of jig heads and accessories. So in here, a stack of plastics, but it's basically 3 different types of plastics in a stack of colors. So I've got a 2.5-inch SwimZ, 2.5-inch prawns, and our 2.5-inch ST grubs. So they're basically 3 different plastics for 3 different applications. So the 2.5-inch SwimZ is my favorite plastic, no doubt, for finesse fishing. And I love that paddle tail for running and gunning. Covering a lot of water, fishing fast, slow rolling, hopping it over the flats. It's a great plastic for covering water. If I come in on some structure and I really want to slow it down, fish it a bit more finessey, the bite's a bit tougher, I love that ZMan 2.5-inch prawns. So that prawns is a great prawn imitation. It's got those legs on the side that help it to stall and fall naturally. So it's a really good one for picking apart structure and getting that tough bite, especially when there's prawns in the system, deadly plastic. And then the 2.5-inch ST grubs, great plastic. You can load it full of scent, which really helps to attract the fish. So when the bite's tough and I'm slowing it down or I'm fishing deeper, the ST grubs is a go-to, and that tail gets up in the water, moves around, attracts those fish and triggers strikes. So that's my 3 go-to plastics for finesse fishing soft plastics in the shallows. SwimZ, prawns and ST grubs, all 2.5-inch plastics, 10 times tough from ZMan. All right, so we've got a few options. We got our 2.5-inch SwimZ, prawns and ST grubs. I'm gonna grab the Slimmy because that's my favorite. So we'll put the SwimZ into this area and see if we can get ourselves a flatty, I reckon. So basically the area that we're fishing here, that's the flat. We fished the mangroves, we moved out on the flat with the bait. Now the water is funneling out through this deep section here. There's a bit of a sandbank here and you can see the water pumping around that sandbank. And this is where the bait's gonna move from here, out into the gutter and then out into deeper water. So we're in about, not a lot, 1/2 metre of water, and we're picking an edge of almost no water up in here. So we're gonna make that cast right up onto that area there where the water's coming around the point. And we're gonna see if we can get ourselves, most likely a flathead, but still a brim or a grunter are a possibility as well. Yep. All right, there we go. So that was always going to be a fish sitting there where that water's washing around that point there. Just a nice little flatty. Put the net under him. Come on, buddy. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's a few more hiding in there, but that's what you're going to get out of there. Anything from that size up to, 80 centimetre fish will be sitting in on that edge. So beautiful water movement around that edge, and he's just sitting in there. And all that bait that we were chasing around on the flat is getting funneled out of there. And this guy is there eating it. So hopefully he's got a bigger friend in there, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a flatty. We got our flatty. He's only a little guy, but he could have been a big fella sitting in that exact same spot where he was sitting, where that water's funneling around that bank. All right, we were just packing up to head to a different drain. This drain, we just got that one little flatty and then we've flogged away at it a bit and it's not really happening. So we thought, we'll roll onto another drain we know. There's another drain, holds a bit more water. This water's dropping out of here. We're probably in 1/2 metre of water. There's not a lot of water left here. And one more cast, just one more cast. Just one more cast and this guy ate it. So I always talk about do the miles, get the smiles, and that's what we often do with that just one more cast. We'll just throw that one more and hopefully something will eat it. And this is a nice flatty, has eaten that ZMan 2.5-inch SwimZ on that 1/4 So, healthy looking fish. Not done yet. That's one good thing about the shallow water too. They pull hard in the shallows because the only place they can go is sideways. So they definitely love to run away from the boat. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. This time in the net. Come on now. Still cranky. Here he comes in the dirty water. That blood oil colour, perfect for this dirty water. Get in there, get in there. There we go. What a beautiful fish. That is a heavy, healthy flatty, and he has eaten that 2.5-inch slim swims. They love it. That's my go-to combo for throwing that 1/4 ounce head. That's the 2 to 4 kilo in the red belly TT rods, 2.5 in the Ceymar HD from Okuma. So beautiful little combo, 2 to 4 kilo rod, 2500 size reel, 8-pound braid, and we got that 10-pound leader on there just in case this bloke got it down in his belly. But have a look at that. That is a beautiful flatty, nice and healthy, solid fish. All right, so there we go. This shallow water plastics, I love it. You hook a guy like that and the only way he can go is sideways. They run beautiful. Just play them out nice and slow and then sit that net in the water and slide them into it. So we hit our mangroves, we dropped out with the bait out onto the flats. We've moved into this drain where the bait's funneling out, and that's our reward, a beautiful flatty. So gently, gently, don't want to hurt her. There you go, slab of flathead. All right, so we had a look at those 3 go-to plastics for finesse fishing the shallows, the slim swims, the prawns, and the grubs. Let's have a look at some jig heads that we can rig those on. So basically here we've got our TT split foam tray. Inside there you can see a stack of jig heads. So this isn't just jig heads for what we were doing today. This is also my jig heads for canal fishing and ultra shallow stuff. So hidden weight system, 1/20th ounce, 1/16th, 1/12th, 1/8. So the 1/8 is sort of where we started today for fishing the shallow flats and the drains and things. So a 1/8 10 in a variety of colors in that tray there. I've also got a tray in here of mixed jig heads, and that's got our other go-to in there, which is the 1/4 ounce 10 DemonZ. So this is an absolute favorite for fishing the river and estuary. It allows a big long cast. We can hop it and twitch it across, and that's a 1/4 ounce in a 10 for that big long cast. And I just grab a few different head colors in each of those to match my favorite plastics. I've always got some nice clear natural plastics for the clear water, a few darker colors for those dirtier water and those motor oily type colors, and then also a couple of fluoros and that sort of thing in there as well. So that's our jig heads, 1/8 ounce 10, 1/4 ounce 10 to go with those 3 plackies for fishing those finesse plastics in the shallows. Oh, not a big fella, right at the boat though, that guy's eating it. That's on the 2.5-inch SD grubs. We love that grubs, that nice curl tail. That split tail hold the scent really well. We'll swing him around. This one might be dinner for Sherry, I think. There you go. There you go, beautiful little flatty. Nice solid little fish. He'd be mid-40s. And basically you can see where we are now. So this is the edge. So we're pretty much, the water has come away from the mangroves, it's off the banks, it's off the drains. So we're pretty much just edge fishing and fishing the mouths of drains now that our tide's dropping right out down towards low. So there you go. Handful of flatty, ate that ST grubs. That's in the dirty oil color. So midnight oil with a motor oil with a black fleck in there, so a real nice colour for the dirty water. Gets those fish fired up, so there you go, nice little flatty. So there we go, that's a fun little session out throwing finesse plastics in the shallows, and we've chased that tide down from the mangroves to the flats to the drains and edges, catching ourselves a few flatties and brim along the way, including that nice 61 centimetre flatty fish of the morning. So check out those finesse, I'll just pop that guy out. Check out those finesse plastics, a few of my favourites, the 2.5-inch ST grubs, prawns and slim swims. Definite favourites for fishing the river and estuary on those 1/4 ounce 10s and those 1/8 ounce 10s. Righto, we'll send this guy back. See you on the water, fish on.